Hey guys, welcome to a new video. In today's video I want to fix the headlamp beam height control of my BMW E30 Touring, which was built in 1994. And my problem is that the headlamp beam height control only works on the driver's side but not on the passenger driver's side. Here you can see the compartment where the headlights are. There's the system for the height control. So there's a hose which goes into like an hydraulic system which pushes a hydraulic cylinder out and therefore raises or lowers the headlight. And as you can see on the passenger side, it looks quite white and there's no coolant in it. So the system works with coolant. On the other side, there goes this hose. So as you can see, this looks a little bit more bluish, and this is the hose for the passenger unit, and this looks empty because it's white. So the problem is that we have air in the system on the passenger side, and therefore the beam is not controllable anymore. So the first thing we're gonna do, we have to go into the interior of the car and take off this cover of the whole headlamp beam height control unit. So with this cover removed, we can now see the interior unit of the whole system, where you can regulate the height of your lights. And behind that there are these two hoses. The left one is for the left side of the car, for the driver's side, and the right one, which looks far more white and is empty, is for the passenger side. So the problem, as you can see here, is that there's no fluid in the system but only air, so the system can't work. Now we can continue in the front. So there's the unit, the headline unit, and there you can see the cylinder of the height control. What I'm going to do now is to turn it counterclockwise, and then you can remove it like that. And turn it counterclockwise, and it should pop out like this. And then the front is connected to the headlight, so you have to pull a little bit harder and this should come right out. So what you can see now is that this headlamp unit is now moving free if I push it. This is normally the work of the cylinder, which pushes the headlight in and out like this and therefore regulates your light height. So very clever system, but a little bit problematic because it's leaking and it's getting full of air and therefore not working anymore, like in my case. So what you're going to do now is to pry off the hydraulic cylinder in the front. I already did it. Here it is. So here's the hydraulic cylinder. It is connected here and I pulled it out. What I noticed is that there's a little crack in the fitting. I hope this is not becoming a problem. So here in the front unit we have to do the same. We have to cut off the hose from the whole unit. So in order to get all the air out of this cylinder in the front, let's take an injection and fill it up with coolant so it looks like this, and then you put the injection over the little nipple of the hydraulic cylinder, put it on there, and then squeeze in the fluid, the coolant, and repeat it 1 to 2 times until there are no bubbles coming out of the hydraulic cylinder, and then you know it is air empty. So this is how my construction looks right now. So what I did was putting the injection over this little nipple of the hydraulic cylinder, then pushed it in a few times so the liquid gets inside the hydraulic cylinder, and then used the clamp to clamp this down. You have to clamp it exactly there So there's a little plastic thing, and after the plastic thing you have to clamp it where the thread is beginning. What I did on the interior unit is also to use a injection, and I put it over the nipple of the right side where the hose was empty. And what I'm going to do now is to turn the knob, and the cylinder of the injection should come out and press the air out into the injection. And I'm turning the knob right now. As you can see, cylinder of the injection moves up. The next step is to get all the air out of the hose. This hose. So what you're going to do is fill up a glass with coolant, put a little hole in it, and then place this down here. So you have to stick the hose into the hole, into the glass with your coolant over here, and in the front install an injection with a little hose over it, over the original hose, so you can pull. This is how it looks like in the front. I pushed the hose into the glass with the coolant, and now we can start to pull the liquid into the hose from the front part. As you can see in the engine bay, the second hose for the passenger side now is blue and filled with fresh liquid, fresh coolant, so we are sure that there's definitely liquid in the system. Now that there's no air in the hose, we can pull it out and quickly put it on the little nipple of this unit. So the last step is to take our hydraulic cylinder we filled up with coolant and located it to move back. So what we're going to do now is we can take off the injection and then take off this injection from the hose, and then put the hose onto the fitting of the cylinder. So now that we put back on the hose and loosen our clamp here, then the system should be ready. So I checked if it's working, and it worked properly, so I can put it in the other way around. We pulled it out, and then the system is ready. So I put on both headlights to see if the system is working.